Now we're going to go and take a tour of Canvas Workspace. Now I'm going to first show you where to find it, and then I'm going to explain what it is. So first of all, you go to your search bar and just type in the word Canvas Workspace, and then it will come up with Canvas Workspace, and look for that little icon there and look for the word brother.com. Then you know that you're on the official Canvas Workspace page. Now what Canvas Workspace is a cloud-based program. So in other words, you don't have to download the program, you simply just open it and use it each time. Now this is a workspace that has been offered to us by Brother so that we can do all of our designing for our ScanNCut machines. So I'm going to first give you a tour of what it is, and then we are actually going to go and use it to create a design. Now when you first click on this, you're going to see that you are presented with a screen that asks you either to log in or you're going to create a new account. Now if you've never created an account before, you will click on new and they will ask you for your contact details and send you an email, and then you will click on that email and create a login ID as well as a password. Now I have already got an account, so I'm simply going to log in. But just before I log in, I want to show you that once I have logged in, I'm just going to click on the little box that says stay logged in for 7 days, because I generally use this Canvas Workspace fairly regularly, so I'd like to stay logged in so that I don't have to put in my ID and password every time. It will simply just open Workspace for me. Now another important thing about Canvas Workspace, once you have created a login and a password, please never delete that account. So say for example you've forgotten your password, don't just think to yourself, well, I'll just create a new account and delete my old one, because you would rather go and say forgot my password, because what will happen is once you have logged in and you have been using Canvas Workspace, your machine is going to be linked to your login ID. Now if you delete that login ID, you're going to lose all of your information regarding your machine, and if you had loaded any extra kits, you're going to lose all that information as well. So please, please, please never just delete or deactivate your account, because you will lose all of your information. So rather, if you've forgotten the password, say forgot my password, and they'll send you the link to create a new one. So having said all of that, I am now going to quickly log in, and then I'm going to say stay logged in for 7 days and log in. Now once you log in, generally this little pop-up box will pop up, and it's going to remind you that the PC version of Canvas Workspace has been upgraded. Now the PC version you can download to your computer, and what this is a version where you can use Canvas Workspace without an internet connection. So if you are worried about data usage, then it's a good idea to download this so that you can use Canvas Workspace without an internet connection. There are certain things that will obviously be limited that you won't be able to access like you would if you do have an internet connection, but it is a nice option for if you need it. So I'm just going to say close, because I don't need to download that. So once I've closed that, you'll see this is the home page for Canvas Workspace. So let's quickly go on a tour of it. Right up at the top, you'll see there is the word Canvas Workspace, so you know that you're on Brother's Canvas Workspace. These little icons up here are all of the kits that can be used. So those optional extra kits are all listed up at the top. Now you'll see mine are all filled in with color, and that is because those are all of the kits that I currently own that I have activated on Canvas Workspace. If you go across to the right, you're going to see your name or whatever you used as your login ID, and that is going to take you to your account information. Now you can manage your account information there, and when you click on that, you'll see there's a little panel along the left hand side, your user information settings. Now the user information settings is, for example, your passwords and that type of thing. Then there's machine registration, then pattern collection activation, and premium function activation. So let's go and have a look at those one by one. Here they are all grouped again. So if you go to your user information, you will then be able to access your login ID, and then you can ask to have your password displayed, and then it gives you all of your information. Then if we want to go back to machine registration, this is where you register your machine so that you can enable your Wi-Fi data transfer. So you need to first of all click on register a machine, and then it's going to ask you for the serial number of your machine. Now once you have registered your machine, they're going to tell you to go to get a PIN code, and that PIN code is going to be entered on your actual ScanNCut machine, and then the ScanNCut machine will know that it can talk wirelessly to Canvas Workspace. All of that information is in your instructions that are included with your ScanNCut as far as the Wi-Fi setup goes. Now, one important thing to know is that if you ever, for any reason, upgrade your machine, and say, for example, you sell your old machine and you want to register a new machine, you need to first go into here, and then you can go and remove the machine. But if you don't remove it and you sell it to somebody else, they are not going to be able to register it. So please remember that that is what you would need to do. Then you would simply go and register your new machine. So that's the important information about registering the machine. Now let's look at pattern collection activation. Now the pattern collection activation is for any extra patterns that you would buy. Like, for example, there's a calligraphy kit out, and that falls under pattern collection activation. There's the stamp kit, all those kinds of things. So you would get a little code in your parcel with the actual kit, and that is what you would type in there and click on activate. Then when it comes to premium function activation, that is also for the premium kits that are available. So if you clicked on that, you would then type in the activation code that would be in the parcel with the kit. So for example, I've got the rhinestone stickers, I've got all of those things that are already activated, and I just need to activate those last two. So that is everything that is under your account settings, which is found under your username. Now, if we go back and we go to the projects at the top, you'll see that's going to open all of your projects that you've created on the Canvas Workspace and saved there. But what we also are going to go and have a look at is, if you go up to here, this is your log out page, so you can log out. And then lastly, there's a little question mark, which is your help function. Now the help function, they have a PDF that explains to you how to use Canvas Workspace. I am going to show you all of the main things, and then as we do projects on Canvas Workspace, we'll be using more and more of the tools. But if you want to know about all of them from the get-go, then that is where you're going to find them. Then if you have any of these kits that you have registered, then you can go and get the information for them from here. There's also a frequently asked questions section. So those are all the questions that people have asked on a regular basis, and they've compiled a list. So if there's something that you're not sure about, go and have a look at that, because you generally will find the answer there. So I'm just going to close that. Now we're going to go back to our home page. So I'll just click on Canvas Workspace and it takes me back to the main home page. Now let's go and have a look at these icons up at the top here. First of all, you'll see that is a shortcut to the pattern collection. This is a shortcut to your projects, and this is a shortcut back to all of the projects that are available as free projects. Now these are updated regularly, so you can scroll through and have a look at all of the beautiful things that you could use. And I'm going to do a separate video on how you open these and how you use them. But there are already some lovely little projects that you can use that are pre-made. Now the idea of Canvas Workspace isn't just about pre-made, it is about us being able to bring in our own designs and how to manipulate them within Canvas, use all the tools that are available to us, and then ultimately save our projects either under My Projects or send it wirelessly to your machine, or save them onto your computer or a USB stick. So let's go and have a look at this one here, because this is the one that we are most interested in for now. So we're going to click on that and it says new, so it's going to open a new blank page. Now you'll see once it's open, this is a representation of your cutting mat. So this is going to be the design area. Now obviously you can change the size of this mat if you are using the longer mat, but for now I'm leaving it at the standard 310 millimeters by 310 millimeters, or 12 by 12 inch. Now let's go and have a look at all of the things that we can do in here. First of all, you'll see that you have a project title. So once you have created a design here, you will give it a name, and then you will be able to download it. Now it's going to give you options, and we're going to have a look at that in a moment. If you want to create a new project, then that is what you would click, and it's going to take you away from this page, and it will warn you that you're going to a new project if you have got something already on there. I've got nothing on my mat, so it's not warning me, it's just taking me to a new page. But if you had been busy working with this, it warns you and it says you are about to leave this page. Do you really want to do that? Then we're going to go and have a look at this icon here, which is overwrite this project. So whatever's on your mat, it will just wipe out and overwrite it. Then we're going to have a look at this little icon here, which is called image tracing. Now if we want to bring in any JPEG files or PNG or GIF files, this is the little icon that we will click on. And I'm going to show you how to do that as well. Then over here, this is where we will import SVG files, DXF or FCM files. Now the difference between these two is that the image tracing is for your JPEG files, PNG and GIFs. This one is for SVG, which is the scalable vector graphics file, and DXF is also just another format, and then FCM is the brother language. Now you'll see when we save designs, they get saved as FCM files, which simply means file for cutting machine. So if we want to open anything from our machine, we can use this icon here. If we want to bring in an SVG or a DXF, we'll do it there. However, if we want to bring in JPEGs, PNGs or GIFs, then we will use that one there. So we're going to have a look at all of these. I just want to give you a tour quickly. Then this is your selection tool. This one is where you can edit the path of any drawings that you've done. So you can edit the nodes and change the outline shapes using that tool. Then you also have a freehand tool where you can draw freehand. This will be something familiar for all computer users, your undo and redo button, and then your delete button. And then over here, this will show the properties of whatever is on your mat. So we'll look at that later. Then this is your zoom function. So you can choose to have your mat displayed as a larger image or as a smaller image. And then you can also use your mouse button or your mouse wheel at least to roll up to scroll up and roll down to scroll down. And then at the bottom you have the bar to move the mat from left to right, and then at the side also up and down. Now as far as the top line here goes, this is the section where you can click on projects, and if you are going to create a new project, you can either create one from there or click there. This here is overwrite the project, which is the same as that there, and this is to save a project, particularly into your Canvas workspace. And then we're going to look at all of these other little things as well, but this here, it will just count how many shapes are in your design. And then once again you've got your image tracing, which is the same as that, and SVG, which is the same as that. So you can access all of these either under project or individually over there. Now here you can also change the size of your mat. So for example, at the moment you'll see there's a purple dot, so it's telling me that I have a 12 by 12 inch mat on my screen. But if I want to change it to the longer mat, I can. And then you also have other options, so that if you're working on specific size projects, you can change the display to those as well. Now as far as editing goes, we've got the undo and redo button, copy and paste, grouping, editing, and then we also have alignment tools, the flip or mirror, the order, send things to the back or bring them to the front, and then we are going to also be having a look at process overlapping when we actually get to do a project that has process overlapping. Then when it comes to view, you can either fit your design to the mat, fit the design to the selection to the area at least, fit to all content, or you can choose different sizes. So you can do it either there or under the view option. Now here under view, you can also ask the program to show you only cutting lines or only drawing lines, and this is very handy when you start diving deep into the program and actually using it. And then you can also ask to show the matte image or take the matte image away, but I prefer to see my matte image, so I leave that ticked. Then you can also change from units of inches to millimeters. Now here in South Africa we obviously use millimeters, and our mats are displayed in millimeters, so you'll see the millimeters along the side, and then you also have the inches along the side, but for us millimeters are good. Then when it comes to premium, This is, you'll see yours will be grayed out if you don't have the kits yet, but because I've already got my kits loaded, the premium kits show up underneath there. So now we kind of know about this little bar and that little bar. Now what we're going to do is we're going to have a look at our patterns. Now obviously my project is going to take me back to my project, which I can find either there or up there. Then we also have a lot of the things that are already on the ScanNCut machine are also duplicated here. Now the patterns aren't duplicated, but the basic shapes are. Now I'm going to show you how, if you want to work with one of the patterns that are built in on the ScanNCut, how to actually transfer them onto your mat. But let's have a look at the options that we have been given. As far as the basic goes, you'll see all of these basic shapes are already on your ScanNCut machine. But they are nice to have because often you want to put a border around something or insert a little shape, so the basics are nice to have. Then if we go to the borders, these are also already on your ScanNCut, but they are also nice to have to insert into your projects. Then, as far as the logos go, you'll see there are all of the sayings that are already on your ScanNCut, and they might also be handy to have to include in one of your designs. Underneath that, you're going to find your text. Now, once again, it's the text that is already built in on your machine, but it's also handy to have them here. So you'll see the only things that are missing from here are the patterns on your machine. But as I say, I'm going to show you how you can transfer them into here if you need them, because obviously depending on what model of machine you have, you'll have access to different patterns, and that's why you don't see the patterns here, because they vary from machine to machine. Now underneath here, I can access all of these things here simply because I've activated my kits. But if you don't have the kit and you haven't activated, you won't see all of these options. Now when I get to do the videos on the kits, I'll explain to you how each one of those works. But for now, you are going to have access to those top few there. So let's dive in and just do something basic so that I can show you the process of using your Canvas workspace. Now that we know a little bit about Canvas Workspace, I'm going to create a simple project just to show you the basics of how to create something and then how to save it and how to download it. Once we understand the basic flow, then it will be easier to add the tools to the next project. So let's start off by having a look at using these 4 included sections here. So if you remember, this is where the basic shapes are, this is where the borders are, logos and text. In the next video, I will show you how to import designs, but for now we're going to use the ones that are included. So let's start off by going to the basic shapes. Now I'm just going to click on the square. Obviously you can click on whichever one you want, but I'm going to click on the square and you'll see the box turns purple. You'll also see that it inserts that basic shape onto your canvas mat. Now once it's there, we can grab a hold of it and drag and drop by using our mouse. We can also resize. Now as we resize, you'll see down at the bottom they show you the height and they show you the width. So as we change that, you'll see that it changes in that little box. so you can get it really nice and accurate and to the size that you like. Now to resize, you can use the handles on the corners, you can use the handles on the sides, and you can use the little handles either at the top or at the bottom. We can also rotate the box just as we desire. If you decide to undo anything, you simply click on the undo button. Now once we've undone something, we have the option of redoing it again as well. So that arrow will be highlighted once we have done an undo action. Now I'm going to leave my little box right over here, and I want to now go and add something extra. So I just use the return to categories arrow, and I can select a border if I like. So there are all the different borders. I could also add one of those little sayings if I liked. But what I want to do is I want to add some text. So all the operations are exactly the same for each one of those categories. I'm going to choose the font that I want, and you can see it turns purple, and if I left click on it, it puts a box with the word text onto my mat. Now to type the text that I want, I need to just left click until I find my little cursor, and I want to put that cursor at the beginning of the word because I would like to delete that word. Now once it's deleted, and I just delete it by hitting the delete key, what I would like to do now is put my own text in there. So I can just type in the word that I would like. Now once I'm finished typing, you'll see that there's a little blue block that appears around the word. Now to release that action, I click anywhere outside of that box on the mat area and it will release it. So now I can also resize by pulling on the handles. I could also rotate if I want, and if I've done any actions that I would like to undo, I'd simply click undo. Now what I would like to do is I'm going to just resize that a little bit, and I'm going to drag that and pop it inside this box. Because if you can imagine, I'm going to want to cut this little box out, and then the word hello is also going to be cut out. So it will be a kind of like a stencil. But now the problem is that if I click on the box and I click on the word hello, you can see that they each get their own individual little boxes around them, which means that these are two separate items. Now to group them together, what you need to do is you go up to edit, and then you're going to click on this icon here, which is select all. Now once I click on that, you'll see that a blue block will appear around the box and around the word hello. So now they are selected together. Now the next thing that I can do is I can go and click on group. Now one box appears around both, and I can drag and move those because this is now one unit. It's not two separate units. So just to recap, it's edit, first select all together, and then group. Now if I select this and then I go to edit, you'll see it now gives me the option to ungroup again if I want. But I'm just going to undo that because I actually do want it grouped. Now I can see, if I click on this, I can see the exact size that it is, and if I need to do any resizing now, it's going to resize both of them together in proportion. So you will just get it to the size that you would like it to be, and then you're ready just to save this. Now we've got options as far as saving goes. We can save it into our projects on Canvas Workspace. Now, the reason that I like to save a design onto Canvas Workspace is simply because if I want to reopen that design to edit it for whatever reason, or add to it or change it, then it is inside Canvas Workspace under my projects, so it's always easy to find. You don't have to save it here. You can go ahead and just download it immediately, but I would like to show you how you save it on Canvas Workspace. Now that I'm ready to save this design under my projects, I'm going to give it a title. So I will call it Hello in Block. And then to save it under project, you're going to go to the project tab. Now we are going to select the third option, which is save as another project. The first one would be to create a new project. The second one is to overwrite a current project. And the third one is save as another one, which is the one that we are interested in. So I click on that and it says saving this project is complete. So I say OK. Now to go and find this project again, I can either click on My Projects and I will see that it appears in the first block, because the last one you save is the first one in the queue when you open My Projects. Now I can also go back to my home screen and click on by clicking on the little suitcase, and there it takes me back to the opening or home screen of Canvas Workspace, and there I see my Hello in Block, and it is first in the queue because it was saved last. Now from here I can open it to edit this project, or I can download it immediately. So I could send it from this screen to my ScanNCut wirelessly, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to do that after I've opened it to edit it. So let's click on that one, and it's going to open that design back on our screen exactly where it was when we saved it, and it will tell you that it is the Hello in Block project. Now let's go and have a look at going to download this design either to our PC or to download it to our ScanNCut. Now what's important is that now that it is open, you can go and edit it, add to it, do all sorts of things to it, and then you could resave it again, or you could download. So now let's go and have a look at downloading. So I click on download, and it's going to ask me to select the file transfer method. Now I can download it to my PC, or I can send it wirelessly to the ScanNCut. Now, if this is a design that I know that I'm going to use in the future, I like to download it to my PC purely as a backup file. So then I know that I've got it safely there, as well as on Canvas Workspace under my projects. So if I need to find it, I know that I will. So let's look at downloading to the PC first. So I click on that, and you'll see a little download happens over here. So I right click on that and I say show in folder, and there I see it has put it under my downloads. Now I'm going to take it out of my downloads and rather store it in a folder where I know I will find it easily in the future. So I right click on that and I say cut, and that's going to remove it out of my download folder. So I'm just going to minimize that, and I'm going to take you to the folder where I'm going to finally store it. Now I have created a folder on my desktop called ScanNCut 2020, so that I know all of the stuff that I do in 2020 is going to be in this folder. So let's open this, but before I open it, remember you can put this folder wherever you like on your PC. I'm putting it on my desktop purely so I can access it easily for the purpose of making the videos. So I'm going to open my ScanNCut 2020 folder, and inside there I have created subfolders. Now the one that I want to save it in is the folder that I created for my projects. Now these are my projects that I've created on Canvas Workspace. So let's open that, and then I'm going to create a new folder, and I'm going to call that Hello in Block. And you could put a date on there as well, so if it was June 2020, then you can keep track of them. So then you open that, right click and say paste. So now it would have disappeared out of my downloads folder, and it's now permanently saved under my ScanNCut folder and underneath my projects and in the Hello in Block. So now I can close that, and I'll just quickly go and reopen just to show you that it is there. So if I need to find it again, it's under my projects and it's under Hello in Block. Now you'll see it's saved as a .fcm file. Now that means file for your cutting machine, and that is the brother language for ScanNCut. Now you cannot open this file to look at it unless you send it to your ScanNCut machine or you open it via Canvas Workspace. So those are the only ways that you can open this folder to view it. Now while we are here, if I decide that I would like to send this file to my USB stick, then all I would do is I would have a USB stick plugged into my computer, right click and say send to, and then I would send it to the USB stick, take the USB stick out of my computer, and then pop that into the ScanNCut. So that's how you transfer a file onto your USB stick. But for now we're going to go back to Canvas Workspace, because I'm going to show you now how to download wirelessly to your ScanNCut machine. Now to do that, we're going to click on ScanNCut Transfer, and you'll see it says the ScanNCut transfer is ready. But it also tells you that you need to go to your ScanNCut machine, and on the screen you're going to touch that little icon. Now first of all, you must make sure that your machine is obviously on and that it is connected to the Wi-Fi, and you'll see that the Wi-Fi sign will be lit up if it is connected. If it's not connected, you cannot transfer wirelessly. So make sure that that little block is highlighted. Then you're going to touch that block on the screen of your ScanNCut machine with your stylus. Then it's going to talk to Canvas Workspace wirelessly, and then it's going to transfer from Canvas Workspace onto your machine. Now once the transfer has happened, on your screen of your machine you will see the design. So it will be the Hello in the Block on the machine itself, and then you will be able to send it to be cut, and you have the option also to save it onto your machine. So that is how you transfer wirelessly. Now once the transfer is done, you can close this block. So those are all the options of saving. So you can save either to Canvas Workspace under your projects, or you can download to your PC or download wirelessly to your ScanNCut machine. So now we can move on and have a look at some other interesting things. Now that we know how to open a project from our saved projects, either via the My Projects tab or via the little suitcase at the top, what we are now going to do is we're going to have a look at opening that same file, but from the .fcm file, which has been saved on my PC. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go out of this. So I'm going to say create a new project. So now it's going to close that project. So I now have a new blank screen. So remember, if you want to do that, it's either go to project and click on that icon, or click on that icon. So those are the two ways to create a blank page. Now we want to open that file that is saved on my desktop under my ScanNCut folder. So let's go and have a look how we do that. In the first video, I showed you that if you want to open a file, and in particular an SVG, DXF or FCM file, this is the little icon we click on. So I'm going to click on that, and it's going to ask me to choose a file. So I'm going to go to my desktop. I'm going to go to my ScanNCut folder. I'm going to go to my project, and I'm going to open the Hello in block. So there it is there. I click on it and say open. Then it'll tell me that is the one that I'm about to open. So I click on OK, and there it is. So that is how you open files that are already in the FCM format from your PC, simply by using that icon there. Now let's have a look at turning on our wireless connection so that I'm able to transfer a design or a pattern from the machine to Canvas Workspace. But I'd like to do that wirelessly, so I need to have my wireless connection on. Currently it's off because I can see there's a line through that. Now normally when you turn your machine on, it takes a couple of minutes and then it registers with your internet connection wirelessly, and then it will turn itself on. But if you're in a hurry and it hasn't done it, you just touch that little icon, make sure that the WLAN enable is on. Once you've made sure of that, you go to the setup wizard, and then you are going to select a saved access point, say OK, select the one that you want, say OK, and apply those settings. Now it will connect. Now as soon as it's connected, it will tell you it's connected, so you click on OK, and you'll see the little network icon appear up on the top left hand corner. So now we can simply just close that screen, and now we are able to send a pattern from the machine to Canvas Workspace wirelessly. So I'm just going to go and choose a pattern. So we'll choose any one of the built-in patterns, and we'll choose the little flower, and we'll say OK, OK, set, and then we're going to say save. So we say save, and then we choose the wireless option. So we click onto that, and then it's going to tell you once it has saved it successfully. Now once it tells you that it's saved successfully, you're going to just pop over to your computer, and you're going to go to Canvas Workspace, and you'll find that little flower under your projects. So I'll show you quickly how that works. So we'll just say OK, and then we can just go back to our home screen, and then we're ready, because now the next thing I'm going to show you is I'm going to transfer a design from Canvas Workspace to my machine. So here I am back at Canvas Workspace. Now to find that design that I've sent across from my ScanNCut machine, I need to go to My Projects. So I click on My Projects, and there you'll see my little flower. Now what I need to do is I want to edit this project. So I click on Edit this project, and it's going to open it up on my cutting mat. So now I'm able to do a whole lot of editing to this little flower. So I could rotate it, I could resize it, I could duplicate it. So I'm just going to duplicate that again. So I've got 3 of those little flowers, and then I would like to add something to it. So I'm going to choose one of the built-in logos, and we'll just choose the word baby. We will pull that in, and then what I can do is I can just move this all around and arrange it until I'm happy with the arrangement. And then once I'm happy with that, I'm going to select this all together. So I can either take my mouse, left click and drag so that everything is selected together, or I could have gone edit and select all. Now what I'd like to do is I want to group them, so I can either click on group up here, or I can right click and say group over here. Now it's grouped as one whole unit, and if I look at the size down here and I think perhaps that's a little bit too large, I can still go and change that. Now once I'm completely satisfied with this design, what I'm going to do is I'm going to download it. Now when I download it, it's going to ask me how I'd like to transfer. So I'm going to say ScanNCut transfer wirelessly. So I click on that and it'll tell me the ScanNCut transfer is ready. So I now need to have my machine on, and I need to make sure that the wireless connection is on, and then I'm going to touch that little icon on my screen, and then this design that's on Canvas Workspace will appear on my screen of my ScanNCut machine. So let's go over to the ScanNCut machine and have a look at where it is. So here I am at my ScanNCut machine, and I'm ready to find the design that I've sent from Canvas Workspace to my machine. So the first thing is I need to make sure that the wireless connection is on. Then I'm going to go to retrieve data. Now I want to retrieve it from my PC wirelessly. So I click on that and it will say it's busy retrieving, and there the design is that was on Canvas Workspace. So it's as simple as that to send designs wirelessly either from the machine to Canvas Workspace or from Canvas Workspace to the machine.